Good morning, everyone. Today is the day for the PTB, but the public test build of Dead by Daylight's Tools of Torment chapter, set to release on March 7th. First, before we do anything, I want to give a look at this trailer. This is the trailer for the chapter. So it looks like we have 2 survivors and a drone. They look like siblings almost. The new killer. Okay, Dead by Daylight Tools of Torment. It looks like we have 2 new survivors. They are siblings, the Lyras. We have Thalita and Renato, and the new killer, as you just witnessed, the Skull Merchant. Okay, let's go ahead and get into these patch notes and see what is to come. We're just going to be pretty much looking at the new killer and the survivors, their perks, and some things that are related to that. So, the patch notes 6.6.0 PTB, the new killer. The Skull Merchant. You have the perks, Game of Foot. While you're chasing the Obsession, this perk activates. Damaging generators and destroying breakable walls in pallets gives you a 5% haste status effect for up to 10 seconds. Whenever you hit the survivor with the total most time in a base in a chase with a basic attack, they become the Obsession. The killer can only be obsessed with 1 survivor at a time. So if you're in a chase and you break a wall or a pallet or a generator, you will have haste to catch back up. So you can, if you're chasing the Obsession and they drop a pallet and you break that pallet, you're going to have haste for 10 seconds as you catch up to them. So that's pretty cool. Thwack. After hooking a survivor, performing the break action on the next breakable wall or pallet will make survivors within 32 meters scream, so you'll have a loud noise notification, and reveal their aura for 4 seconds. If you're using Lethal Pursuer like I often do, it'll be 6 seconds. Thwack is active for 75 seconds after the survivor is hooked. Leverage. Each time you hook a survivor, you gain 1 token up to 10. Whenever you hook a survivor, this perk activates. For each token, it reduces the speed at which survivors heal for up to 5% for 30 seconds. So if you have 10 tokens, it's going to be 50% reduced healing speed for half a minute after you hook a survivor. We have our new survivor, Thalita. Her perks are Cut Loose. After performing a rushed vault in a chase, this perk activates. While active, your rushed vaults are silent for up to 6 seconds, and successfully performing a rushed vault during that time resets the timer, and this perk goes on a cooldown for 45 seconds. So it looks like you can chain together a ton of rushed vaults as long as they are within 6 seconds of each other, and they're all going to be silent. So it's like quick and quiet, but back to back to back to back, as long as you're doing it all within 6 seconds of each other. And then afterwards, it'll be on a cooldown for 45 seconds. Another perk, Friendly Competition. Whenever you finish repairing a generator with at least 1 other survivor, this perk activates. You and other survivors who finish repairing the generator with you get 5% increased repair progress, so that's 10% extra total if it's just you and 1 other survivor, or 15 extra total if it's you and 2 other survivors, 20 if it's all of the survivors on 1 gen, for 75 seconds. And survivors can only have 1 instance of this perk activate once. So that's going to be a super good perk to pair with Prove Thyself. Then you have Teamwork, Power of 2. Whenever you finish healing another survivor, you both move 5% faster as long as you stay within 12 meters of the survivor you healed, or until one of you loses a health state. Teamwork, Power of 2 can only trigger once every 140 seconds at max level. Survivors can only be affected by 1 of these effects at a time. So that sounds kind of like Blood Pact. It's going to be pretty cool. I don't see myself using that one too much. So Renato, his perks are as follows. Background player. After you unhook another survivor, break into a sprint at 150% of your normal running speed for 6 seconds, and you gain exhaustion. This perk cannot be used while suffering from exhaustion. Exhaustion prevents survivors from activating other perks that cause exhaustion. So after you unhook a survivor, you get 150%. So it's just like, overcome. Like when you get hit, you run for extra amount of time and it's exhaustion. But this is 6 seconds, so that's a good amount of time after unhooking a survivor. You can make the unhook and then get really far away really fast, but you are exhausted. But that's when you get into this perk, Blood Rush. This perk activates once you are 1 hook away from instant death. While healthy, running, and suffering from exhaustion, press the active ability buddy to lose a health state and recover from exhaustion instantly and gain the broken status effect for 20 seconds. You're automatically healed from injured to healthy after 20 seconds. Being put into the dying state will cancel the healing effect. Activating Blood Rush will disable it for the remainder of the trial. Exhaustion prevents survivors from activating other perks that cause exhaustion. Broken prevents you from being healed. So in this example, let's say you use background player. You unhook a survivor. It causes exhaustion, but you're able to run away for 6 seconds at 150% speed. And then you want your exhaustion back and you're already 1 hook away from death. You can activate this ability and you'll have your exhaustion back. Maybe even be able to... So it shortens the timer basically on what your exhaustion is. You can activate Dead Hard or something like that. It's going to be more interesting. Maybe probably better paired with perks like Balanced Landing or stuff like that. I don't see Dead Hard being super useful unless you're going against a killer that has you in the exposed state, and you'll want to put yourself into the injured state to use Dead Hard as well and stuff like that. So it's going to be very situational at best. All right, the third perk, Collective Stealth. Teamwork, Collective Stealth. Whenever another survivor finishes healing you, you both leave no scratch marks as long as you stay within 12 meters of the survivor who healed you, or until one of you loses a health state. So this is going to be super cool. If you're coordinated with your team, you're just going to be able to sprint around constantly after healing, as long as you stay within 12 meters of each other and leave no scratch marks. That's going to be super awesome. And then they added the map Shelter Woods, which is the Skull Merchants map, and it's going to be really cool. They updated the visual effects of Red Forest and stuff like that. Then lots of changes to bots and stuff. And perks, we'll read these. Perks, Deja Vu is no longer activated after last gen. Coup de Grace now, those are bugs. Let's see, they did change some actual perk changes. Any means necessary, removed cooldown. So there's no more cooldown in any means necessary. Eruption, they nerfed Eruption, so you're no longer going to be incapacitated. Instead, your aura will be revealed for 12 seconds and you will scream, which is super cool for people who love aura reading builds. All right, so that's basically the patch notes. I will scroll through it slowly, and you can pause on parts that you want to read. But yeah, I think this is going to be a very cool update. So far, just reading the patch notes and knowing the perks that the killer is bringing with them and the survivors are bringing with them. And there's going to be a lot more, obviously, complex things you could do mixing those perks, because there's tons of perks. You don't really know the true potential, especially not immediately. So I'm excited to see what that brings.